All right, so I'm in Romania, and there are a lot of places I would like to go, some towns I'd like to see, some hikes I'd like to do, and well, getting there by bus or train just really isn't an option. There are tour companies that do some tours, and you can also hire a private driver to take you places, but these tours cost a lot of money, like a couple $100 a day, some of them, and thing is, I don't really want a guide. I don't want anyone accompanying me. I want to go by myself. I want to do my own thing on my own time. So I'm going to rent a car. And I have finally figured it all out, but the process has been painful. First problem with renting a car in Romania is that as a Canadian citizen, I need an international driver's permit. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a translation of your driver's license into various other languages. Um, it's like a UN document. It's not a license or permit per se. It is just meant to accompany your domestic driver's license so that other people can read it, I guess. I had one many years ago. They expire though, they're only good for a few years at most. Now, I thought, okay, no big deal. And I went online to get one. Well, it turns out the only way to get an official international driver's permit as a Canadian is through the CAA, which you can do in person, takes half an hour. You can email your documents to the CAA, and then you can pick up a copy 2 days later, or they will mail it to you, which can take 4 to 6 weeks. It is a paper booklet. You cannot get a digital version of this at all in Canada. It just doesn't exist. So I was pretty disappointed to find out about that. I went online, just looked for whatever information I could find, and I tell you, the information, there was very little. I found a post from one guy who was an American that got his brother to go and get him an official international driver's permit, but then his brother just basically took scans of it and emailed it to him. So, is an email of an official document official? I don't know, is it? Apparently, though, this guy actually did get pulled over and showed the police his scanned document that he got through his email from his brother. And the police were happy with that. Well, okay, that's encouraging, but it's one story. It's pretty anecdotal. Um, then I read that in order to rent a car here, you don't need an international driver's permit to rent a car. It's really for if you get pulled over by the police. And apparently, some of the rental companies here offer a digital IDP on the spot, right? It's like, well, how can they do that? It's not like they have access to the CAA, right? Like, they're not going to be able to get me a digital copy that I can't get personally, right? That doesn't make any sense. So, I found out there are companies online that sell digital international driver's permits that they claim are official UN documents. Are they? I don't know. They can say whatever they like. I don't know if it's true or not, but if the car rental companies are offering this service, they have to be doing it through these online companies. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So I started looking into these online companies that sell digital IDPs. I definitely know that not all countries accept a digital IDP. Romania, however, does, according to the list and according to a couple things I read online. But there are some countries that don't. I think South Korea, they want the paper copy. They want the official paper copy. And when you go to these online companies, South Korea is not on the list. So at least there's that. It sort of confirms a little bit about how valid these things are and where you can use them. These online companies have definitely found a gap in the market, and they're supplying something that people need. Um, it costs about twice as much as getting one back home, but it only takes about 10 minutes. I got one. All I needed was a selfie, took pictures of my driver's license, and submitted my signature in JPEG form, which I carry with me anyway, so that was easy. Took 10 minutes, and then today I got the digital version. I went today and got it printed out into a booklet, which I've had one of these before, and honestly, it really does look identical, except that mine's stapled on the side instead of like a folded booklet with the staples in the middle. It's a pretty minor difference. I don't know. I mean, what am I gonna do? It looks pretty good. I mean, worst case, I'm gonna get fined and deported, right? So, the next problem with renting a car is what car rental agency do I pick? Ugh, it's so difficult, and it's not even just going to each website and checking there, but like, do I go to Kayak or Booking.com or CarRentals.com? Like, there's all these places to compare prices, and it's all crazy. And there are so many different companies. And it's really hard for me because I like to pick like the cheapest thing and just go with it, but with car rentals, that's not really a good idea. Like, there's a company called Zoomies here, and another one called Mania Car Rentals. Like, these have such cheap prices. I'm looking at an 8-day car rental, and they're quoting like $130 Canadian. Like, that's pretty cheap. But then, in the reviews, it's like, well, by the time I left, like they charged me 3 times the quoted price because I didn't have all the insurance. And I know that happens. Like, you rent a car and you go in and they're like, oh, well, you really need this extra coverage that isn't in the quote. And yeah, so that kind of makes sense because the big agencies like Avis and Enterprise and Hertz, those companies charge about 3 times the cost up front in their quotes. But they also have, the language is just clearer because they list all of the insurance, what's included, what's not. They break it all down for you in really simple language. So I think it's probably better just to go with a big company, not have to worry about all of that at the rental desk when I get there. So I ended up booking a car with Hertz through Booking.com. It was a little bit more expensive, but I was just really happy with the way they broke out all of the pricing, listed all of the coverage, and I ended up actually just getting all of the coverage because it was kind of minor in comparison to the cost of the rental anyway. I have tire and windshield coverage and a bunch of other stuff I probably don't need. I even have CDW, like the collision damage waiver, which I have with my credit card, but it was just pennies. It didn't cost much anyway. So I just went with the whole shebang, and I got a 10% discount with Booking.com, my Genius discount, which made it not cheaper, but basically the same price as it would have been booking elsewhere. And I just feel more comfortable booking it through there than I would with, I don't know, I've never used CarRentals.com. I don't really love Expedia all that much, and Kayak, well, I've used it a couple times. In the end, what's $10 or $20? I just did it. So I pick up the car in the morning, and fingers crossed it goes well. Good morning. On my way to the car rental agency. I stopped and got some cash because I figure I might need some in small towns. Now I'm looking for the number 5 or number 8 bus. All right, I managed to ride the bus. They have machines on the bus where you just tap your card and it spits out a ticket. But when I went to do that, a bunch of people were like, no. And I'm like, no, why? And they said, today, all the buses are free in Cluj-Napoca, so saved a couple bucks. And that is the airport. I think I got off one stop too early. I don't know. I think I have to go into the airport to get the car, but when I look at the address for Hertz, it shows me it's down here, but I don't see it. I don't know. I'm just gonna go into the terminal. Hopefully that'll work. Yes, found it. There's no one here, but I called the number and he says he's on his way. All right, so I'm in my car. Picking it up was really easy and fast. They didn't even look at my driver's license. They only wanted my international driver's permit. So they took down the number from that, and I guess it seemed to pass muster, so that's good at least. And then yeah, I gave them my passport and blocked off an amount on my credit card as a deposit or whatever, but I'd already paid through booking.com. They did not try to talk me up on insurance or anything like that. We did an inspection of the car and they marked everything. I took a video just to be sure, but they seemed to be pretty good about marking down all the damage. And apparently they have just a drop box to drop the key at the airport, which is open 24/7, so I can drop it off anytime before my scheduled time. And that's it. They gave me 5 minutes to leave the airport. I had like a card I had to scan, so I kind of got out of there. I could only turn right, which took me quite a ways back towards town because there was no place to turn around on that road. And now I'm sitting in just a shopping mall parking lot, because now I have to figure out where I'm going. And I think I'm going to see if I can connect my phone to the system in here as well. So originally my plan was to drive under the speed limit at all times. Oh man, people drive way faster than the posted speed limit here. Most of the highway coming to here was posted as 60, and people were flying by me and tailgating. A couple times I got up to 80 and people were still flying past me. So I think my new strategy is going to be to just sort of be the slowest car on the road, but not stick out like a sore thumb or get rear-ended. Oh boy, I don't know. But I made it. I'm at a grocery store. I'm going to pop in and get something to eat. And then I'm off to my first destination. Okay, so I think the car rental's great. People drive super fast here. It's crazy. I'm trying not to speed, but I have had a huge line of cars behind me. I've seen that Audi symbol like full size in my rear view mirror a few times. That people tailgate, people pass like where there's like double line around a corner. It's insane. I'm really just trying not to be too much of a nuisance by driving too slow at this point. The highways are pretty good otherwise. Driving through Turda was insane because there's all these cars like half parked on the sidewalk, which means 2-lane traffic. There's just not enough room for it, so you kind of have to pull over and let people get by you, or they have to pull over and let you get by. It reduces the 2-lane roads to single-lane traffic. It's insane. And then in the middle of town in Turda, there's this huge traffic circle, and half of it was just missing. It was like the road was gone, and there was just this big pit full of dirt. And there were no signs or anything for detours. So I ended up at that traffic circle 3 times from 3 different directions just trying to get out of town. And Google had no idea what it was doing. It literally directed me to go down some stairs at one point onto a pedestrian road. It told me to keep turning right where there were signs that say no right turns. I finally just drove in a direction for like 10 minutes until I was able to pull over and like completely reroute because it was insane. But I got out. It's fine. And I got to see the Turda salt mines. I got to see the gorge today. I got to hike through there, and I'm at a campground I could not have got to with a bus. And this campground's way cheaper than any hotel. So I think I'm really happy with the car so far. It's great, and you know, I've got the navigation on the big screen, and I can listen to my music, and I can hang out in the car. I don't have to put all my junk in the tent tonight when I sleep. I'll be able to have some room to move around. I think it's kind of awesome. So far so good.